Well, that wasn't exactly the smooth Friday morning we were all expecting, was it? What was the second day of Eagles training camp? There was trade speculation that ultimately died down and sparked a lot of questions, and of course, plenty of action on the field. Here's everything you need to know from a rollercoaster Friday morning down at the Novica complex. But before we get underway, guys, make sure if you're not yet subscribed, make sure to hit that big red button and leave a like if you enjoy this sort of content, and of course drop your comments down below on everything we discuss in this video. And for your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage, make sure to head to phillysportsnetwork.com for coverage from myself and all of our writers. Let's kick things off with the elephant in the room, and many of you will know that as the connoisseur of the Captain Cravon movement, my emotional attachment to the Eagles cornerback is strong. So, when reports on Friday morning stating that he wasn't at practice despite seemingly looking perfectly fine yesterday, speculation over a potential trade began to swirl. The logic was simple enough and was echoed by just about every Eagles writer in attendance. There's a lot of depth at cornerback, LeBlanc is towards the bottom end of that depth chart, and if a player is healthy and not at practice, it's usually because there's some sort of trade negotiation in the works. Now, I had two responses to this. Number one was slightly more rational because I don't think it makes a ton of sense for LeBlanc specifically. Mills isn't healthy and neither's Darby right now, and if the Eagles do want to experiment with Maddox to safety, suddenly cornerback depth looks pretty barren if Sidney Jones is pushed outside, and we all know he's not exactly been the most reliable during his short NFL career. And my second reaction was of course me pledging my allegiance to Captain Cravon. Anyway, Jim Schwartz told reporters after practice that LeBlanc actually missed today's events due to injury, the details of which were kept extremely minimal with tests reportedly still going on, but it was enough to at least silence the trade talk for now. I mean, my heart rate is back down to a solid 150 beats per minute. We can all go on with our everyday lives. This could be a cover from Schwartz, and a trade does kind of make sense in some ways given the abundance of depth at corner. The talk also comes just one day after Malcolm Jenkins stated that you can't keep everybody. However, I think it would be far better to trade one of the more prominent names, knowing that Maddox, Douglas and Jones can all hold their own as starters, exposing them to regular season snaps and enhancing their development as opposed to putting a cap on it. But I'll have much more in-depth opinions on this specifically in today's episode of the Outside Insider podcast and in coming articles and videos, so be sure to stick around for all of those. Outside of LeBlanc, Jalen Mills was in attendance but still on the PUP list, greeting fans and making the days of those who turn up to the complex, while Blake Countess also missed practice. On to what we actually saw on the field, and Carson Wentz looked sharp once again. As expected, the face of the franchise looked red hot in day 2, continuing on from yesterday's solid form. Not only is Wentz building a tight bond with Deshaun Jackson, but the two are connecting over and over again, a sight Eagles fans will become besotted with next season, with expectation to reach great heights growing ever more. This takeaway is minor, but running back Miles Sanders was seen working out with the second team offense during today's practices, and Doug Peterson stated yesterday that Miles Sanders would be somewhat baby stepped into training camp. He's already getting second team reps now, which is huge for his development considering he missed OTAs with a hammy injury, and it seems as though he'll be getting up to full speed with relative ease, a promising sign for the rookie out of Penn State. With Mills, Darby and now LeBlanc all sidelined, the Eagles starting trio at cornerback was a familiar sight. Sidney Jones manned the slot and was making yet more impressive plays, while Rasul Douglas and Avonte Maddox took the outside reps. The really intriguing here though is that in second team looks it was Malcolm Jenkins getting the nickel reps. Malcolm Jenkins, as in one of the best safeties in the game, who is underpaid, has numerous Pro Bowl appearances, didn't miss a single snap last year, was adding second team nickel to his list of duties because the team needed him. Pay the man. Next up, Brandon Brooks is an absolute machine. He's just 6 months removed from tearing his Achilles, but is already working with the Eagles during offensive installs, and that is absolutely remarkable. The timetable of his return is still unknown, but Brooks is taking massive strides in rehab, and there's every chance he could leave us all stunned with a return to action much sooner than many of us expected. And if that wasn't enough, he was also seen after practice helping 5th round pick Matt Pryor in his development, and that is exactly what you want from a veteran offensive lineman. Jason Peters set the bar. It looks like the rest of the guys are following suit. That is a great room for a young player to be a part of, and it's going to mean massive amounts to those guys like Andre Dillard, like Jordan Mailata, and of course TCU product Matt Pryor. A slightly minor takeaway here, but Josh Perkins does have life. We all know how important special teams is to this Eagles team, and after a really disappointing year last season where he struggled massively despite great opportunity against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Josh Perkins is now fighting for his future as an Eagle behind Richard Rodgers, who was re-signed, and of course the combination of #GotIt. But if you can carve out a role on FIP's prestigious special teams unit, there may be a late twist in the tale, and according to Elliott Shaw-Parks, Perkins was getting first team special teams reps, and that could be the difference between sneaking onto the 53 or even being stashed on the practice squad as opposed to being cut with no intention to bring back. So every minor step a player can take right now is absolutely pivotal, and Perkins seems to be moving in the right direction. Mac Hollins is back and apparently has had a haircut which has taken the world by storm. By world I mean Eagles fans, and by storm I mean a like on Instagram. Anyway, it's really encouraging to see Hollins back out there, and he even made a noteworthy catch with Zach Rosenblatt of NJ.com tweeting a one-handed grab off an RPO, which is something obviously that has become a staple of this Eagles offense. Now, Hollins still has a mountain to climb, but the UNC product is vying to make up for lost time last year. And finally, tomorrow the tough will get going. The Eagles practice today was quiet, and as you can probably tell from the above takeaways, not a lot went down, but the pads will go on tomorrow. We can expect the whirlwind to pick up. Consider this the calm before the storm. But that is it from today's takeaways from the NovaCare Complex. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button. These will be coming out every single day after an Eagles practice. From myself, Liam Jenkins, you can follow me at Liam Jenkins PSN. I'll be splitting my time between here and of course the Philly Sports Network website, where you will find daily coverage from myself. Thank you so much for all of your support. Drop your opinions down below. We'll see you tomorrow.